The Boys just recently wrapped up its third season, bringing a lot of edgy, satirical spoofs of our favorite superhero stories and some of our least favorite modern-day problems. This started with Homelander and the rest of the Seven being a clear analog for the Justice League, and Vought being synonymous with Disney, but it goes much further than you'd expect. Today, we are going to list off everything The Boys Season 3 spoofed and see how deep this rabbit hole goes. It's no coincidence that this season dropped during the middle of Pride Month. Episode 2 brings our heroes to Vaughtland, a version of Disney World that serves as an indictment of rainbow capitalism. The scenery is full of corporate pandering aimed at the LGBT+ community, featuring such inclusive attractions like Woke Walk and Brave Maeve's Inclusive Kingdom. And I gotta hand it to the writers. They knew exactly which buttons they were pressing with the first one. This level of satire went way beyond the show itself to feature an ad for Brave Maeve's Vegetarian Pride Lasagna, which was featured, by the way, on Vaught's official Twitter account. I feel like the only thing that could have made this satire spicier is if it actually contained meat sauce. You know, just to add a delicious layer of irony on top of it all. The breakout character of Season 3 is easily Soldier Boy, Vaught's own version of Captain America. He shares the same origin as Steve Rogers, a scrawny lad that just wanted to fight the good fight, and given the opportunity to do good through experimental military injections. The difference being is that Steve Rogers is the pinnacle of human decency, while Soldier Boy is, well, a bigot that falls in line with those edgy "what if Captain America was realistic" memes that I know you've seen on Twitter. Much like Cap, Soldier Boy was supposedly killed in a heroic sacrifice, but was actually taken in by enemy scientists and experimented on for decades to follow. This is where Soldier Boy not only serves as a spoof of Steve Rogers, but also Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. Like Bucky, he's presumed dead, comes back in modern times to assassinate the people of interest, and he even comes with his own shocking revelations and relations to one of our main characters. The big difference here being, I don't think he's getting his own spin-off with Black Noir anytime soon. One of the many revelations surrounding Soldier Boy is how the team of soups that he led in Vietnam betrayed him. Payback is clearly the vaughtified version of the Avengers. Soldier Boy is a clear stand-in for Cap. His sidekick Gunpowder is clearly supposed to resemble Bucky Barnes, especially the comic versions. And Crimson Countess is a dead ringer for Marvel's own Scarlet Witch. The others are a little harder to pin down. The TNT twins could be read as analogs for Pietro and Wanda Maximoff, given their sibling dynamic, although considering they need to be touching to use their powers, they could also be the Wonder Twins. Mindstorm is actually an original character for the show, but given his color scheme and mind-based powers, he could very well be a stand-in for everyone's favorite android, the Vision. The rest of the team are even harder to pin down, but characters like Swatto could be a nod to how in the old Avengers comics, the team was comprised of almost entirely Z-listers. It was basically Tony Stark's tax write-off, and now I'm wondering if we'll ever get the Boys' equivalent of NFL Super Pro. The now infamous episode, Herogasm, opens up with the Deep leading a group rendition of John Lennon's Imagine over social media. This was in an effort to calm the populace in light of recent suspected supervillain attacks in Manhattan. Real-life actors like Patton Oswalt and Mila Kunis joined alongside heroes A-Train and Black Noir to mock Gal Gadot's infamous attempt to cheer everyone up through song back in 2020. It's unfortunate that Maeve was locked up for most of the season, because I would have loved to have seen her lead the choir, although maybe that would have been too on the nose. You know what? You can make the call. A-Train? More like cringe train, huh? Am I right? Everyone's favorite murderous speedster has been put through the ringer this season. He changed his costume to reflect an African color scheme and is universally mocked for it. He tried and failed to get an immigration documentary off the ground. He got his brother crippled while trying to make a white supremacist answer for his crimes. And worst of all, Homelander called him fat. It's hard to do right by the black community when you're still a corporate lapdog with zero genuine connections to your culture. The peak of A-Train's half-hearted performative activism has to be when he takes part in a delightful satire of Kendall Jenner's Coors tone-deaf Pepsi ad from 5 years ago. A-Train's ad for his own Turbo Rush energy drink teaches us all that racism, prejudice, and police brutality could all come to a swift end if we all just take a minute to calm down, listen to each other, and crack open a cold one with the boys. If the marketing for The Boys Season 3 hammered one thing home, it's that Homelander was finally gonna snap and show everyone the real him. We see this all over the season, from the numerous times he goes off script on live TV, how he assumes control over Vought, and how he's absolutely finished with putting on any facade of caring about those weak, inferior humans. A turning point in this development is when he's being filmed preventing his annual birthday suicide prevention, in which he's supposed to inspire a seemingly lost soul to consider that life's still worth living. But then he sees a news broadcast stating that his superpowered fascist lover Stormfront has taken her own life. This is the point where he gives up what little pretense of heroism he had left and tells the girl to jump. This scene reads like a dark mirror of one of the most famous pages of one of the most famous Superman stories of all time. If you've read All-Star Superman, there's a chance that you've seen this page of Clark confronting a depressed teenage girl that is considering jumping off of a building. Unfortunately, Homelander is no Superman, and, well, you know the rest. Season 3 recapped the climax of Season 2 in the most boys way possible. A trailer for Vought's newest movie, Dawn of the Seven, where our heroes unite to defeat Stormfront, played by Charlize Theron. This presents Homelander as a much more sympathetic figure than how he actually came across in Season 2, feeling betrayed by and responsible for taking down his evil ex. This is a fun meta-parallel to how the Joss Whedon cut of Justice League framed Superman in a more positive light than Snyder's prior outings in the DCEU presented the Man of Steel. But the true spoof comes into play when all of the in-universe press that follows reveals that this is the pure vision of director Adam Bourke, coupled with the hashtag #ReleaseTheBourke Cut. Much like Brave Maeve's vegetarian lasagna, this trailer was on Vought's official Twitter, and Zack Snyder even tried to get it trending. And you know, I'm really happy for them, because every artist deserves to see their vision fulfilled. Although, unlike Zack Snyder's Justice League, I would actually pay to see the Bourke cut of Dawn of the Seven. I'll be honest, I couldn't even tell you if shows like American Idol or America's Got Talent are still on the air, but everyone knows what those shows are, right? And so does The Boys, as Homelander and Starlight play host to an in-universe superhero talent show, American Hero. They do this in order to scout out new members of the Seven. The show is everything that you'd expect a spoof of reality TV to be. It's got intense, dramatic lighting, it's set in a mansion. Oh, and nobody that you ever want to win actually does. The first time that we see the show, they use it to bring the Deep back into the Seven over promising newcomers Moon Shadow and Silver Kincaid. The Deep isn't even in the running that season, so what gives? The second time it's used to add someone to the team, it's Starlight's ex-boyfriend and teammate Supersonic to the roster. And that was also partially due to the behind-the-scenes meddling, but it's our heroes meddling, so it's okay. I wonder if, in this universe, Homelander and Starlight show up in the Shrek 2 DVD extras like Simon from American Idol did. Can you imagine Anthony Starr singing My Way? Starlight's ex-boyfriend Supersonic joined the Seven this season, and then swiftly left the Seven when Homelander killed him for treason. The teen heartthrob turned superhero turned corpse was a dead ringer for DC Comics vibe. Both are Latin heroes with the ability to make powerful sonic vibrations with their hands, although one is in the Justice League while the other is in a ditch. While the version of Supersonic in the comics wasn't a pop star, it is interesting to note that his super team was called the Young Americans. While the comics version of his team was a seemingly wholesome group that would fall in line with Starlight's Bible Belt upbringing, it also happens to share the name of a non-profit organization that's been around since 1962. The Young Americans is a performing arts-centric organization that seeks to bring together students across the US of various ethnic and religious backgrounds through the performing arts. Could this have provided the basis for Supersonic's backstory as a teen pop idol? It would be in line with Vought's public image to appear inclusive and try to promote soups of diverse backgrounds. Ultimately though, we will never get to see Supersonic perform "You Got Your License to Drive Me Crazy," and that's the greatest loss of all. One of the best spoofs of Season 3 technically happened before it started. We've seen Homelander on the talk show 7 on 7 with Cameron Coleman at the start of Season 3, but he actually debuted in a series of shorts that played from July to December of 2021. Coleman is clearly inspired by Fox News anchors like Tucker Carlson, and he is the right-wing corporate suck-up that Vought so desperately needs. His ability to endorse state violence and misrepresent the real victims on this show might as well be a superpower. The last episode of the miniseries mentions that his show was being bought out by Vought and set to air on VNN, leading us into Season 3. And you know what? Good for him. Everybody needs job security. And hopefully Season 4 gives us a left-leaning parody of Alex Jones that talks about how Compound V is turning the frogs gay. Yeah! Well, if this video's proven anything, it's that the only thing more dangerous than Homelander is the writing staff's satirical chops. The pen is truly mightier than the soups, my friends. What was your favorite spoof of this season? Let us know in the comments below.